I would like you guys to leave with is this. It's a translation of the Quran.
Okay, I can put that in my pocket.
Yeah?
Yes.
Would you like one
Is
as
he
well?
recording?
He's not now.
It's not
He's not now.
fine.
So, yeah, I'm gonna give
We
this
have
to
to
you.
make donations.
No. It's completely free. It's completely free. And I'm gonna give you another pack. But going back to just very quickly what I was talking about, Jesus Christ being God, sent by God. So John 17:3, he's saying that the only true God and thou, Jesus Christ, that you have sent. Yeah, and it has more of an oomph when I show you. So I'll show you in the Bible.
But it's always
Quran and the Bible are one book, which is amazing.
So here,
It's an interpretation.
and that's how I see it.
so you got here John 17:3, and thou might know the only true God and Jesus Christ, whom thou hast sent.
Right?
So this is going back to affirming that Jesus Christ isn't God. He was
Yes.
sent by God.
Yes.
And do
Are
you,
you saying God is Allah?
yeah, I'm saying, look, let's not get caught up in the semantics of the name, because
Yeah, I
even
know, but it's just as I said,
Yes,
when I was talking
basically.
to somebody else, he was saying God and Allah are two different beings, two different.
entities. But then the point he was trying to make, I think basically the reasons Muslims like to use the word Allah and we avoid using the word God is God comes with all connotations. So God died on the cross. That's what Christians believe.
God didn't die on the cross, did he?
Jesus died.
Jesus died
Yeah.
on the cross.
I'll address that. God gets tired. Does that make sense? God needs to rest. Like as Muslims, we reject those things. Like God is almighty, God is alone, singular. God is eternal, self-sustaining. God is doesn't have offspring, nor is he born. There's nothing comparable to God. So then we like to use the word Allah, because when you say God, you can add an S to it and make it God's plural. You can add an S and make it into a gender, like goddess. Makes sense? So in Islam,
About Hindu though, now, because Christians only have one God.
do you believe in Trinity, madam?
I don't know what I believe in yet. I will tell you when I get there.
Let's get there together. What time's the theatre? We've got a bit of time.
It's a conversation I love to have because no one knows. No one knows.
I would claim I know.
You know, and how would you know? Have you died and been reborn?
Now, what would you say is your criteria to know? And then I'll tell you what my criteria is to know. So for you to be satisfied that I know something, or for you to be satisfied that you know something, what's the criteria?
Do you know or you believe?
I know. Now, I believe as well, but my belief is based on logic, reason, and as well as evidence.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, the Quran, the fact that it was perfectly preserved, the fact that the message is perfect, the fact that there's no contradictions in it, the fact that it makes prophecies and it comes true, to me, that's my belief. The Prophet Muhammad. Now, I was speaking to your friend in regards to the preservation of the Quran in a university in Birmingham. The BBC done an article on it, you can look it up, where they've got carbon dated chapters of the Quran that is the same as the Quran we have now. And we've got over 200 million people memorize the Quran word for word, letter for letter, dot for dot. So for me, I'm satisfied that it's been preserved. Now, if there's no contradictions, then it must be from God. If it has prophecies that's come true, it must be from God. If it talks about subjects like an expert, because God is the expert of everything, because God created everything, then it must be from God. And these are the things that the Quran has.
So who wrote the Quran?
The Quran was preserved through an oral tradition of memorization. So it basically came from God, Allah. Yeah. So it basically came from God to the angel Gabriel, to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the final messenger. And another evidence of my belief is the way we perfectly preserve like the interactions and the message the Prophet Muhammad came with. His lifestyle, he's a perfect example. Now, there may be things which you may not fully grasp or understand, but fundamentally you're not going to say this is wrong or you disagree with it. Does that make sense? So he came to him and he preserved it. He was an illiterate man in the desert, so he didn't read or write. So he had scribes who may have written it.
So that's the difference. You've got Muhammad,
Yep.
Prophet Muhammad, but we had Jesus. Christians had Jesus.
Yep. So
They're not the same person, are they?
definitely not, no.
Same God, different prophets.
Yes. So the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he affirmed the belief in Jesus Christ. No Muslim is a Muslim until they believe in Jesus Christ, until they believe in Moses, until they believe in Abraham and all the messages of God.
You didn't know that?
In the Quran chapter 19, we have an entire chapter named after the mother of Jesus, Mary. Yeah, and we believe her to be a pious woman, and we believe in the virgin birth. We believe in Adam and Eve, and so on and so forth, right? So the core element of what I'm saying is all the messages of God came with one concise, consistent message. There's only one God. Worship God alone. Right? Don't make any partners with God. That there were the prophets at that time, and they came with glad tidings of whoever obeys God will get paradise, and whoever disobeys God, and whoever disobeys God, they're warned of a punishment. So I'm saying to you that look, let's go back to what Jesus Christ taught. Jesus Christ never taught Trinity. He never said he is God. He never accepted worship. He never asked anyone to worship him. Yeah? So why have the Christians come with the Trinity? The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. They're not three, but they are one. So basically, no, that's fine. No. Some Christians as well. So I would say that's why I like to have a personal conversation. Yeah. Don't come. I'm not going to come with what Christians believe. What do you believe?
Yeah. I haven't found that one out yet. Sorry,
So,
I don't know your name.
Ridwan.
Which one?
Yeah.
Okay, Ridwan. I haven't found that one out yet.
Yeah. So let's go the journey together. It's a short journey. Do you believe in God?
I'm not stepping in front of any buses, mate. It was dangerous getting over here as it was.
We stay on this side of the barriers, all right? Do you believe in a God? Do you believe there's a creator? Let's go foundational, step by step. You don't know?
That's the whole thing.
Okay, no, that's fine.
No.
I respect that. Now,
I'm not going to say no.
yeah, you're agnostic on the matter, and that's fine.
Agnostic.
Right now, would you... Okay, where did the universe come from?
Don't know that either.
Okay,
Science says it comes out of an explosion. of
a Big
stars.
Bang.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what caused the Big Bang? Science agrees, from nothing comes nothing. Science agrees the universe is created, so it came from the Big Bang. Yeah? I'm saying that Allah, God Almighty, caused the universe into existence. And that's the narrative the Quran comes with.
But the time frame is the question, isn't it? Like we Christians believe it's done in 7 days. But then is that 7 days?
6 days, and God rested on the seventh.
But is that literally days? Or are you talking millennial? Is it like 6 millennial?
Now, I can't comment on the Bible, and the Bible clearly says 6 days and rested on the seventh. The Quran says something similar, but it doesn't say days, it says 6 periods.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So is it millennial? Is it like thousands of years?
I don't know, and I think, with all due respect, if the Quran hasn't gone into details, then I'm going to say it's not important for us to know. It's fair for you to be curious about it, but the important thing is, what's our purpose? Who created us? How do we proving heaven? How do we enter heaven? Does that make sense? Because can we all agree, from nothing comes nothing?
Yeah, I suppose if you look at it that way, science is the fact that they bang out nowhere.
No, they don't even speculate that. Because the fact of the matter is, they can, because I had a conversation with a professor of quantum mechanics.
I thought you were going to say Stephen Hawking then. I was going to say, blimey, you are in touch with it.
I would like to. I've had conversations with academics, and I've watched academics, but I haven't had a conversation with Stephen Hawking. Not yet. Where's the bus?
No.
I'll be back. Okay, so now, and he was talking about, look, he can tell me, like, he doesn't have faith, he has trust, and he has hypothesis, and he can tell me to the very moment, to the split microsecond or whatever he said, to when the Big Bang happened. Well, that's fine. Can you give me an example of something coming from nothing? It went quiet. Because that's it, because show me a practical example of something coming from nothing. So my claim, you can ask me for evidence or to prove it or back it up. My claim is, if you disagree with it, my claim is more logical and rational to believe in God than not to believe in God.
Something to think about, isn't it? Yeah.
Which I do think sometimes.
Because Isaac,
Just like,
we all think about it, right? But then the world distracts us. Children, TV, going to the theatre.
Train journeys over from the other side of the world.
Yeah, train journeys. Yeah. So I'm saying that why do we get distracted? I don't want to go into conspiracies and how is for us to get consumer driven or for the rich to remain richer, keep the poor poorer. The fact of the matter is, regardless of why we get distracted, we are getting distracted. Yeah? Society tells us in the workplace, don't talk about religion, don't talk about God, don't talk about death, and no, don't talk about politics. And I'm like, those are the most important subjects. Oh, it causes arguments.
Yeah, no, there's always a place for discussion. There's always an open place for
it
discussion.
depends if everybody else is open to it.
Yeah, and that's what we've had at an hour. You have an opinion. Everyone's got a right to an opinion, as long as they're not being told what their opinion is.
No, as long as you're not rude, vocal, offensive, does it make sense? Because I'm happy. I'm entitled for someone to have an opinion that doesn't agree with me. Yeah, I'm not going to push it down their throat. I don't even mind. They can push it down my throat. It's not a problem. But do it with a level of wisdom and respect. Does that make sense? Because at the moment, I'm having a conversation with you lovely ladies, and I'm welcoming you to actually criticize and challenge, because I want you to accept where I'm coming from, rather than.
It's not a criticism. It's a question. Isn't it?
No, that's fine.
And that's the same. I think for any it's like there's always going to be questions. People have questions, and that's how you find out.
No, I'm welcome. I'm not saying you're criticizing me. I'm saying that I welcome it, because we've been taught something, and then I'm coming with something foreign, and it's like, why? Why should I leave this? Or I've rejected that, and I'm happy. You're perfectly happy right now with your life, isn't it? Like, why do I need religion? Why do I need Allah? But I'm saying that Allah doesn't benefit from us. We benefit from Allah. We benefit from following the scripture. We benefit from having the Almighty, All-Wise giving us a complete way of life. Because when we live how we want to live, then the shortcomings. I remember growing up, there was things that I was like, this is right. And then 5 years later, I'm like, nah, that's wrong. There's ways I used to treat women, I used to do this, I used to do that. I'm like, to me at that point it was right. Now Islam comes along and says, no, this is wrong. You have to respect women, you have to respect this, you have to respect that, you have to behave in a certain way. Islam says that, look, what does it say?
You're not born Muslim into a Muslim family.
I was born into a Muslim family, but then there's a lot of cultural elements.
Right.
And you have to remember, not even that, just very kind of ill-informed, changed by culture, changed by people, elders, and what they believe to be right. Their own opinions gone into it. And then me being born and grew up in the West, where it's kind of challenging on those narratives, and I'm like, well, you're right, I never actually thought about that. Well, no, all right, then that's fine. No, but there was a point where I was quite similar to yourself, quite agnostic about it. Like, yeah, I wasn't quite sure. But then it was actually Dr. Zakir Naik. When you get to Dr. Zakir Naik.
Zakir Naik.
Yeah, Dr. Zakir Naik. And he spoke about the Quran and how it's been preserved, and the Quran and modern science. And I'm like, I didn't realize the Quran spoke about science. I just thought it just came with some nice stories. Don't do this, don't do that. If you do this, you're going to go hellfire. I'm like, okay. But then I realized that actually the Quran comes with, it's from God. One of the miracles that that affirms my belief is the miraculous nature of the linguistic miracles, the Arabic language and how it communicates the information. The Quran actually gives a challenge that come with something like it, makes it easier. Come with a chapter like it, as in the Quran. The smallest chapter of the Quran is 3 verses. So the Quran, Allah, God Almighty is saying, come with 3 verses like this, and no one can beat it, because there's so many like meanings and so much depth to the language. But going back, with Islam, like this was fascinating because I didn't realize. You know, Islam, man can't interpret it. It's not for any Tom, Dick and Harry to open the Quran and say, ooh, this is what it means to me. Because I didn't realize the Bible teaches that.
But you're saying that, and then you grew up with elders preaching it in a certain way which you didn't agree with.
They
Live your life by these morals is basically what a Bible and a Quran does, doesn't it? This is how I say that you should live your life. The way that they interpreted and taught you, as some of the priests and stuff that taught me.
But no, the elders are a little bit illiterate, with all due respect, because what they were preaching.
I'm going to move out the way in a minute. I'm sure you're going to be talking.
No, because at the day, when they spoke, they didn't reference the Quran. They didn't say, okay, this is what we've read, this is what the scholars have taught, this is what the Prophet taught. Because you're not saying it's not room for man to interpret it, in the sense that the Quran came, how did the Prophet Muhammad understand it? How did he explain it to the disciples, the companions, the Sahaba? Yeah? And how did they explain it to the next generation and the generation after? And that's it, that's the cutoff. So whenever I say the Quran means this, for example, chapter 5, verse 32, if you take a life, it's as if you've killed all of humanity. And if you save a life, it's as if you saved all of humanity. Yeah? And I'll be honest, when I was younger, I spoke to a scholar, and I'm like, yeah, that's talking about the believers. Yeah? Leave the disbelievers, their lives are valueless or whatever. But then he said, no, because the verse doesn't specify a believer's life, it's a life. Does it make sense? So when you get the Western media propagating like these extremist views, right? You don't see mainstream Islam and you don't see real Islam, then it's like, yeah, there must be an element of truth to what these extremists are saying. I'm saying that no, what these extremists are saying does not reflect Islam.
Yeah, no, I think people know that.
They know now, but not when I was growing up. Doesn't make sense. So then, that interpretation, it's got nothing to do with the scholar said that I spoke to. He has to reference that the Prophet ﷺ, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, this is how he understood the verse. And we've documented these conversations and these things where it's like, no, this is how it was understood. So then, that's what I'm saying, there's no room for interpretation, because it's not like I'm saying this, it's okay, what did the Prophet Muhammad say? How did he understand it? How did he teach it to the companions? And he has the authority because God gave him the authority. Does that make sense? Now you're thinking, yeah, and you touched upon it. The messengers sent by the men chosen by God. The fact of the matter is, this man, let me quote the Prophet Muhammad in his final sermon. He's talking in front of hundreds of thousands of Muslims, right? Give or take, my maths might be off there, right?
How many?
Hundreds of thousands.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm not sure at that time if it was that many, but yeah, but that's what I heard. But maybe my memory's let me down, so I don't want to misquote. But a solid number amount, yeah, good number of thousands of people, maybe even hundreds of thousands actually, potentially. But anyways, I digress. And he said, look, the best amongst you. He said, no white man is better than a black man. No Arab is better than a non-Arab. He was giving women's rights, and he was saying, what differentiates the people is the God consciousness. He was with the companions, and he said, the best amongst you are the ones who are the best to their wives. the best, when he was given the sermon, he gave rights to women. A man came to him and said, who should I give my companionship to, the most of my companionship? He said, your mother. Who next? Your mother. Who next? Your mother. Who next? Your father. So it's teaching me the rank of a woman and the rank of a mother. So when you, at that point, 1400 years ago, you had churches debating about if women had souls. You had Greek philosophers debating if women had souls and owning women as once they die and trading and so on and so forth. But Islam came along 1400 years ago and said, look, the women have the right to annul marriages. They have the right to choose who they're going to marry. They have the right to choose own property. You can't inherit your woman or your wife and so on and so forth. Does that make sense? How do you feel about what I'm saying? This is mind-blowing. You never heard this before. And everything I'm saying, I can back up from scripture. And
no, but you just see. I don't agree with that completely.
because you have.
Me personally, I don't know that I see much respect for women in the Muslim faith.
But what have you seen?
Quite sweeping, isn't it?
It's a little. No. Shall I tell you something? You're allowed to make that statement based on what you've seen. So that's fine. But then it is a sweeping statement because how many Muslims have you seen? Does that make sense? And the fact of the matter is,
I only live in a white community and I don't, yeah, that's, no, it's not like that at all.
no, even like Newham, right?
I live in Slough, does that help? It's like West
Have you
Slough.
heard of Slough?
Yeah. No, but then she hasn't got the same lived experience you have in Slough. I don't know where you live, by the way. Same.
I worked in Slough.
I live in Newham. I can't say I've got the same lived experience as you living in Newham.
Yeah. But then no one's got the same lived experience forever, is it?
Yeah, because the different interactions. Like I had a massive culture shock. Like I'm now working in Romford. I worked in Grays. I worked in Lewisham. I worked in Tower Hamlets. And I just found each borough has a different personality based on the community and the culture.
Yeah.
Even the police, how police interact with people. It blew my mind in different areas.
Heavy stuff now, aren't you?
Yeah, getting deep in there now. Gonna get
Are
cancelled.
you going to give us this Quran so we can go off and
No, I'm gonna hold on to it so you continue chatting to me. So you continue speaking to me.
part two?
But I feel like I've spoken a lot. How do you feel about what's saying? I want you lot to like kind of.
Because there's stuff that you said that I wasn't aware of. And again, it's something to like, I'm agnostic, and like I said, I don't know if I'll ever change my mind until I get wherever I'm going.
But
You know? And then I'll come back and say, yeah, he's right.
no, but by then it'll be too late because
It won't be too late,
all.
Will it? Because don't you believe that you will go to heaven and we won't because we're not Muslims?
Any person.
I was told by a Muslim.
No. Any person who's genuine about their faith, any honest Christian will tell you, they believe all Christians will go to paradise, and if you don't have the belief as them, you'll go to hellfire.
Well, we have heaven, hell, purgatory. We have like in between these as well.
I don't even think purgatory is for disbelievers in Christianity. Because I don't think all the major religions teach that if you don't have the right belief, and I'm going to be honest with you, in Islam, if you make partners with God, if you don't believe in the one true God, right, then the destination is going to be very warm and you're not going to enjoy it.
But where does it say in the Quran, in the Bible, that you have to believe in God to go to heaven? Where does it say that? Where does it say that God said that you can't go to heaven if you don't believe in God?
Okay. In the Bible, Jesus Christ was asked, what is the greatest of all commandments? He replied, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Yeah?
That's not saying God said you can't come up to heaven.
So, okay, you have Moses who came with the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
What happens if you break the 10 Commandments? You're not going to go paradise, are
You
you?
get forgiven. As a Catholic, you say, please forgive me, and you get forgiven.
Yeah, you get forgiven every Sunday morning.
Okay. Yusuf! Help me!
You're going for a higher.
Yeah. We need ginger beard. Black is too much.
Hello there, how are you?
Okay. Which question would you like answered first? Where does it say in the Bible you're going to go to hell if you have
Where does
this?
it say in any scriptures, Bible or Quran, that you won't go to heaven if you don't believe in God?
Yeah.
Because my understanding is God loves everybody, regardless
And doesn't
of
judge.
your faith, age, or religion, or
It's
colour.
God to judge, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's the only one that's allowed to judge.
Yeah.
So God judges.
Yeah. I mean, the Quran is very clear. If someone like,
Whereabouts in it?
I will bring you the Quran so I can show you.
No, we got one
Oh.
here.
Oh, we've got one here.
No, I'm just wondering because
No, it's a fair question.
I've never seen anywhere where I've always understood that God loves everybody, regardless if you believe in him or not. That's what we were taught, or that's what I feel.
Okay.
It didn't matter who you were.
Yeah.
You'd be like the Mary Magdalene prostitute. She
Yeah.
didn't believe in God, but
Yeah.
God was going to take her to heaven.
But do you think when, according to the Bible, when God destroyed the nation of Noah, do you think he loved them when he destroyed them and punished them?
But I don't know. I don't believe if God did do that. This is the thing. I'm agnostic.
Satan do that.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm agnostic. I'm
Okay.
trying to get
yeah,
a belief in some respects.
yeah,
But I said to the young man here
yeah,
that I will only know when I get where I'm going if
Okay.
it's true or not. But I think if I would be going where everybody else goes
yeah,
because that's what I've been led to believe. I follow a pretty nice life. I'm not rude to anybody. I haven't killed
Nice.
anyone.
yeah.
Nice. I'm a nice
Subjectively
person.
speaking.
Earlier.
I'm a nice person. I
I
don't.
want to be nice. That's
Yeah.
what I was taught.
Which is
That's what my mum says.
It's
100%.
humanity, it's a human thing.
Yeah,
So I'm a human,
yeah,
and I feel that I don't need to go. I wasn't brought up. Let's just brought up Catholic. I wasn't Protestant.
yeah,
But I don't believe that when I go,
yeah.
because someone's going to say to me, you can't come in here because you didn't believe in me.
Not to be rude, not to be rude, but it seems like you don't actually believe in anything.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
not sure.
yeah,
I'm not.
But by
I'm
having
not
these
atheist.
conversations
Yeah.
with all different.
I'm spiritual.
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
spiritual.
Yeah.
I believe that I've
Yeah.
lost people and they're around me
Yeah.
somewhere.
yeah,
Whether that's heaven,
yeah.
I don't know. There might be a few
But
more
it's
down.
like you're saying, I don't believe it, but if it does happen, I'm going to be okay. I'm not.
Yeah, because
I'm not,
I believe if
yeah,
there is a God, He
Yeah.
will accept me
Yeah,
without me having to say I believe in a God.
but you know where I would start from? Like, okay, Christianity, is it true? Islam, is it true?
Yeah.
What does the
Yeah.
Bible say? What does the
But you've got Hinduism, you've
Yeah,
got
what does
Buddhism,
Hinduism say?
you've got all these religions.
Yeah, I would leave all that to the side for the
Okay.
moment, and then decide, is there a God or not?
That's the question. That's the big question,
Yeah,
isn't it?
because then you can, if there's not a God, like if you're confident there isn't a God, then we don't have to worry about what happens after we die.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about what does the Quran say. Does the Quran say you're going to
If there's
hellfire
not,
or not?
if there's not a God, then I'm sure I'd be going out killing those people, thinking, oh, that's it then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
You know, when you look at the idea that there's no God,
Right.
I find it's a much bigger leap of faith than believing there is a God.
That's what you were saying. It's better to believe that there is something.
Not better. I said it's more logical and rational to believe in a creator than not to believe in a creator. And we address that nothing comes from nothing, and the Big Bang, like there's something powerful enough that must have caused it.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really get a chance to address the whole. There's too much
We haven't got
design.
enough time here.
There's too much design not to be a designer. But I'll let Yusuf continue,
You know,
brother
like
Yusuf.
the way we're talking now,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm not a scientist, but you know, air is coming out my lungs, and according to how I put my mouth, my tongue, my lips, sound is coming out. And then you're hearing it, it's going in your mind, you're thinking about what I'm saying, you're agreeing, you're disagreeing, and then you're expressing your opinion.
Yeah.
Do you think that could realistically come about by randomness?
We're going to go down the matrix, aren't we now?
Yeah.
We're all going to be doing the matrix.
Do you think that could happen without a creator, without a designer, without some knowledge and power behind it? Like it just happens. I think that makes no sense to just believe that there were some random molecules and they hit together and they kept on.
Yeah, I don't know. This is the thing, isn't it?
Like if I put it on you, have you ever come across anything that didn't exist and came into existence by itself? Like for example, the shirt you're wearing, the bag you're carrying, the glasses. Have we ever, from our own experience, our limited experience, have we ever seen anything being made without a maker?
Me, I made my children. That came from nothing, but it didn't. It's naked inside.
Yeah, it didn't come from nothing. Even that is very, very. I'm not going to go into detail, obviously, but when you think about the process, even I mean, as ladies.
Please tell me how the baby was made. My parents have never explained it to me.
As ladies, you know better. You will know what I will never know. But the idea of a life,
we know.
yeah, a life inside you, and that life in the darkness with no one there, the eyes, the ears. You're eating food, and then the food is going through your system and feeding the baby. The idea that this is just, there's no God behind this, there's no creator, there's no maker. Without being rude, I think that's nuts. That makes no sense at all.
What happens when people are disabled and stuff? Have they chosen to be disabled?
See, the thing is, God is the most just, we believe. But the thing is, when you see someone who's disabled, it should also cause you to feel grateful that you're physically able, and also that person we would consider that person can be a test for us, because we should look after that person, take care of that person, and even
disability in the family, that's why.
But even that person with that disability, it can be to the point of that the disability is such that person has no account in front of God. That person is, from the time they're born to the time they die, they're purely innocent, which can be a good thing. And at the same time, even if you look at the disability, if you can compare the disability to what good things they do have, the good things that they do have surely outweighs the disability. Like being able to breathe, having family to love them, having eyes to see, ears to hear, food to eat. So even if someone has something which we consider negative, the positives are a lot more. But the thing is, I would say that there has to be a God. Like,
I agree with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Like,
There you go, you got one down today.
You know the process of being born, the process of dying, the process of going to sleep, waking up in the morning, the seasons, the rain, all of these things point clearly that there must be a God. That's one. Secondly, you know the human innate nature. In every time, in every place, in every culture, in every language, people have always sought God. They may have used a different name, they may use a different method, but people have always had a need to call on God. Like, you know the expression that there's no such thing as an atheist on a sinking ship.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
So usually, we have that. We have what we observe, the creation around us. We have our own innate nature. And also we believe that messengers came, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, peace be upon them. And they came with this continual message that there is a God, this life is short, there's going to be a life after. So all of these reasons...
It's going to be really busy, isn't it, after?
Yeah, it's going to be very busy. But all of these reasons would point to the fact that there must be a God. I would say that is the starting point. Not to be rude, I sometimes wonder, because a few years ago it was quite common to be atheist, but now people, they're realizing if you say you're atheist, you have to prove it. So people are saying I'm agnostic, because agnostic is like it's a cop out.
It's not a cop out. That's not nice.
Yeah, because
That's very judgmental.
Oh,
yeah, I am very
zero.
judgmental. Yeah.
I'm agnostic because atheists don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
I've lost people and I want to believe that they're somewhere.
Yeah.
So I can't say I'm atheist in that respect because there's a spiritual side to it.
Yeah.
But agnostic, I'm not COV anymore, I'm not Catholic. I've been spoken to some Hindu friends, I've taken their knowledge, listen to that knowledge.
Just bug here. These are speakers, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
So I'm trying to soak it all in. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
My Quranic teacher at school, bless her.
Yeah.
Because I was asking the question.
But I think you have to, you can't just sit on the fence. You have to take a side. Because I find agnostic is, I understand.
Side, but what is the side? Either believe or not believe.
Is there
the two sides?
is there a God or there isn't?
Can I interject?
Because then you can take this. Then you can take the conversation further.
Because a lot of the questions that were posed, you don't have the answer. Like in regards to, like the arguments in regards to, the consciousness, the self, yeah, and the miraculous nature of babies and birth and stuff like that. So it's like we can leave the conversation and being like, oh, he made some good points, but you have to think like, okay, then what is the natural conclusion? Right now, did it happen by accident? Did the universe create itself? Because this is the question the Quran asks. So if the universe didn't create itself, then there must be a creator. That's a logical conclusion. Because there's a lot of question marks, but you're confident to affirm that you're not going to believe in a specific religion. So you're like,
I haven't been persuaded because I think they all do the same. You're like you said, Allah and God are the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. You all look like you need to have a nice cup of tea. I'm really picky now. This is you and agnostic.
that's rude. This is Ramadan. Nah, that's an insult.
Is it really? It must be as bad as saying because you're agnostic.
I was just teasing, yeah.
One thing, without being a Muslim, the Quran asks a question, which I find very interesting. It says, how can you disbelieve in Allah when you are lifeless and He brought you into life, and then He will cause you to die? So there seems to be a thing of when people say I believe in God. When people say they believe in God, it's like an obligation.
I'm not sure if it is.
It is. They keep moving.
We'll blur it. We'll blur you out.
We'll blur it, yeah. So it seems that there's an obligation when someone says, I believe in God, I'm a Muslim, Islam is true, come to Islam, save yourself in the hellfire, that I have to justify why I believe in God. But here the Quran is asking the question, how do you not believe in God?
Okay, yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
So that is our question to you.
I haven't got that answer.
I think if you look, it's very interesting. If you look at all the atheists or agnostics, I guarantee you none of them have an answer why they don't believe in God. They will all tell you, it could be this, but we're not sure yet. It could be this, but we're still finding out.
It's a journey, isn't it? Your life's a journey.
But I'm telling you, for hundreds of thousands of years, none of them have given a solid answer of why we exist. They give you possibilities. So none of them have any certainty. So I would, as the brother said, the idea that there is a God is much more logical, much more common sense, much more evidence-based, whereas to deny God or to not to be sure is like blind faith, it's a leap of faith, which atheists or agnostics, they generally accuse religious people of. Yeah, but she's not believing there's something either.
Spirit might be a God.
Yeah.
Because you believe in a God, a God.
Yeah.
Whereas you believe
Something possibly maybe could be.
Yeah, maybe it could be. Yeah. Don't hate me for it. Don't be a hater.
No. That's not. But the thing is, I don't want to use some emotional pressure, but
yeah, you are.
But I will. You know,
It gets more emotional. Come on, let's see what you got.
I'm English, so whenever English person says, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't want to.
So when did you? I don't mean to be rude.
Yes.
When did you convert?
I converted when I was 19,
Oh, okay.
which
Very
was 93. Yeah.
Ooh, shots fired.
So I used to live in Reading.
Oh, there you go. That explains it all.
Yeah, so I became Muslim in Reading. And then when I became Muslim, my mum was obviously very shocked. And she thought it was a phase. And because it's interesting because it was before 9/11. So I think now when not everyone, but sometimes when people think of Islam or someone becomes Muslim, they become worried. Are they going to be an extremist?
I think that is a media thing. Because
Yeah, it's a media.
most people in the UK are pretty tolerant.
They're very, very much so.
Muslims
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
like totally anti-harm. We grew up with the IRA.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is.
And we don't think all Irish. And we don't think all
I
Irish
love an
people love
Irish
it.
man. I don't think he's going to come over and look at me, and I never did.
No, but my point is, so when I became Muslim, my mum, she didn't look at it like that. She looked at it as like something foreign. Like, why are you following? Not in a hateful way, but more confused. Yeah.
Was you from a religious family then?
No, I think like you. I went to Sunday school. Yeah, Sunday school. I went to church occasionally, but mostly weddings, funerals, and if you would have asked me, I'm Christian. But my mum's outlook is she doesn't want to force me, and it's my choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we were brought up like that.
And how does she feel now? She's still
My mum,
accepting, does she? You can be whatever you like, just get rid of
no, my mum's happy from the aspect of married, grandchildren, and very family orientated. So my mum, she's very happy with that. And it's quite funny because my wife's relatives, the way they treat her is like she's really shocked. Like they treat her so well, and they put her on a pedestal. So she's happy like that. And when I talk to her about Islam, she will agree. Yeah, I agree with that. But I'm a good person. I don't kill anyone. I don't. So she has this. I can see the.
You try and tell me that I'm the same age as your mum. Thanks very much.
No. The outlook. Yeah. So I've got to a point where I explained to her, and the tears come in her eyes, where I think she knows it's true, but she doesn't want to commit. So that's. So the relationship is still good with my mum. I talk to her all the time.
No, that's important. Whatever you choose to do, it's like your family's always important.
Of course, yeah. And then so that's it. But still back to the same question. I don't want you to answer now.
They're still confronting about the Quran.
No, they have, because it's
about
made
that.
you alive and you made you dead, so it must be good.
If you want, I can give you pages after.
We were waiting for our copy so we can go off and have a read.
No. Once the conversation is finished, I'll give it to you. We've still got about an hour and a half left.
No, you're not a prisoner. I'm going to give you one verse.
Yeah.
The verse you wanted.
Listen. So
this is.
It's very early on as well.
Yeah, it's chapter 3. Yeah. Chapter 3 is known as Ali Imran. Imran is the father of Mary. The father of Mary, the mother of Jesus. So the chapter is named the family of Imran because chapter 3 covers a lot about Jesus.
Okay.
But anyway, it says here what you asked, where it says that if someone doesn't worship God or become a Muslim, then they're hellfire. It says, whoever desires other than Islam as a religion, Islam means submission, submitting to God. Never will it be accepted from them, or from him, sorry. This is our position from the Quran. If someone chooses a religion, a way of life other than Islam, it will never be accepted. And in the hereafter, we'll be amongst the losers. So this is very explicit.
Yeah, but
I said that earlier on.
but you're saying now everyone's got to follow Islam.
Yes.
To get into
Yes.
But that's what your extremists believe. That's where the Christians and Hindus, Sikhs are being killed by Muslim factions.
No, there's a difference.
I thought the Quran was telling you that God is the same as our God, and we'll all be going to heaven if you follow the word of God.
No, there's a difference. Because you brought up another subject. So this is what Islam says. Chapter 2, 256. There shall be no compulsion in acceptance of the religion. The right course has become distinct from the wrong. So Islam, it doesn't compel people or force people to be Muslim.
It's very much like the Bible, the Christian Bible, because it sort of contradicts itself as it goes.
Is that
I don't like contradiction there. You said there's no contradiction in.
But is that a contradiction? The contradiction is look.
Yeah, because you read out that Islam, if you're not Muslim, the word of Islam.
Yes.
you can't go, he won't accept you.
That's
Yeah.
what I
And now
think.
this one's saying,
That we can't force you. So look, we'll take this
Wait,
person.
I don't see the contradiction there.
You can tell me the contradiction. We'll take this person. Their name happens to be Bob. So for example, I don't want to offend anyone called
no,
Bob.
that's Bob, yeah.
Bob.
They are called Bob because
Yeah.
you're going to go down that line now where you're going to
He looks like a Bob.
cisgender, transgender, and all that now. So Bob's
Yeah, it
Bob.
could be Roberta or
Okay.
Robert.
Okay. This person A. Person A. Islam is presented to him or her, and they don't want it. They say, no, it's not for me. Islam says there's no compulsion. We can't force them to be Muslim. But because the truth has been conveyed to them, and after they understood it, they recognized it, they decided to live out the rest of their life, not accepting what God has said, not accepting God's messenger, not accepting God's book, then when they die, they will be asked, didn't the message come to you? And they will say, yes, we heard, but we chose to turn away. So that person, in general, will be punished in the hellfire. So I don't see a contradiction. We don't force them to be Muslim, but if they don't accept it, yeah.
Okay, I was going to go back to the bit again where I was going to say that I believe that if there's a God,
Yeah.
he welcomes everybody into heaven, regardless of religion and caste.
We're believing in the God and
Not Islam.
But the thing is, that's why I said, if there's a God, we'll take for granted there's a God.
Yeah.
He would, from justice, from logic, from his mercy, from him wanting good for us, he would actually explain to us what he wants. He wouldn't leave it to everyone, my own opinion.
And I meet God, and he asks me that question, why do you follow Islam? And this nice chap, Yusuf,
Yeah, Yusuf, yeah.
was
Or Robert, whatever's easy for you. Yeah.
Did
Now his birth.
Yeah, Robert,
Islam.
yeah.
Why? And I say,
Yeah.
right now, God, I've seen you. I want you to tell me. Can I come in? And he'll go, no, sod off. No, he wouldn't. He'd say, well, come in because you were a good woman.
Okay, how do you know?
Because that's what I believe. But he would say that I was a good woman.
Could that be considered conjecture?
Oh my God, they were using
It's just like,
the big guns again.
we would say, look, God has sent, he sent messengers, he sent evidence. And you're saying, but I think, in my opinion, haven't you made yourself God?
I had a conversation with my Hindu friend
Yeah,
who believes that Jesus has already risen
yeah,
and he's going to show himself in his lifetime. So any time now.
yeah.
He is absolutely steadfast in that belief. Should I believe him?
No.
If somebody rocks up in a thing and says, I'm actually
No, you should
second
only
coming.
believe me.
Ah, so you're the second coming?
No. What I'm saying is, we're human beings. Yeah. We have minds, we have intellect. We need to judge things, we need to look. Yeah. Yeah. We need to, but we need to take it seriously. We need to take it seriously. Okay.
Let me give you the Quran. There you go. I'll give you one more pack.
I was saying because the young man was telling me about how diverse and everywhere is and
How I wasn't.
how we wasn't. Thank you.
No, there
you go.
And
There is
I
something-
live in Slough.
is something good in Slough.
There's
Yeah.
one in Slough, that's
But
good.
you and the Mars bar factory.
Mars Bar Factory,
Yeah.
yeah, that's about the only thing that's good in Slough.
No. I've been to Slough so many times. so.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for
You
your
go to
time.
mosque there, do you?
I've been there a few times, to the mosque, but usually I'm here, so yeah.
Oh, it was very nice. Are we allowed to shake hands, or is that a Ramadan thing you're not allowed to do
No,
that?
we don't do that. I hope you're not offended.
I am. Totally.
Is that you don't shake women's hands?
No.
No, that's right, or no?
No, we
you
don't. No, we don't shake women's hands.
That's it.
You're fine.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's just the way Islam sets the boundaries. Because it's like, we can shake a woman's hands, but am I related to her? or am I married to her? If not, keep your hands to yourself, mate.
I'm old enough to be your mother.
No.
But it's a general rule.
Obviously, yeah, total respect for you.
No problem.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I respect you respecting me.
I've got a nice cup of tea now.
I appreciate all of your time. I appreciate the conversation.
It's fine.
What is that? It's not rude. I am going to have a cup of tea.
She's just stating a fact. She's stating a fact.
This lady's like your lawyer. She seeks for you, and then she advises you. Don't say this.
Right, we're going now.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Very nice conversation.
I do like the conversation.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We should talk more. Yeah.
We should talk more. Should be back next week.
We're here every Saturday,
The door is
and
open.
think about some of the questions we had and the question marks you had, and see, because it's not possible to reconcile it in one conversation. But I think once you reflect on it, and then have some follow-ups, and I'll dye my beard ginger in the meanwhile, so I'll be on that level.
Recognise you next time.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Thank you so much, ladies. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Oh, did you ask for it?
Yeah, that's why I
thought you said to put it on him.
Can you come?
Okay.
He's research purpose. He said I'll do, but he still say I'll do.
That was a nice conversation, but the ladies, they want to be blurred.